Well, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. First of all, how long have you been doing this for?
I've been cosplaying for 3.5 years.
What made you get interested in it?
So I grew up in a really small rural community. I grew up on a farm, and I didn't know we actually had Comic Cons. I played video games. I read comic books. I read ElfQuest was actually the first comic book I ever read. So one of my friends was like, well, why don't you dress up and go to shows? I'm like, wait a minute. There's a place I can dress up and do that? And he's like, yeah. So I started making my own costumes, and it just kind of rolled from there.
Now, as far as making your costumes, you obviously you've got a lot of costumes, and you put a lot of work into them. How do you choose? What's your inspiration? What's your motivation for your costumes that you choose?
I try to find characters that I connect with. So like Magneto, I love his story. And honestly, let's be real, villains have the best stories. They're more complex. So I tend to gravitate towards the villains. Then I like cutesy characters like Cubone and Squirrel Girl and, things like that. I like fun characters, but I want to feel like some deep connection to that character before I start drafting them.
Do you have any advice for young, up-and-coming cosplayers?
Yeah, do things you're afraid of doing, You don't know if you're good at something until you try it. I didn't know how to make armor before I made armor, so, it's something you've just got to jump into and give it a shot.
Now, you obviously, with the costumes, like you said, there's a lot of elements to it. There's a lot of fabric. There's a lot of how are you learning? How are you teaching yourself?
Well, a lot of my friends actually had experience using some things, and a lot of it is trial and error, too. So it's figuring out what works for you, because what works for them may not work for you. It may not be something you enjoy doing, so you find a different way. So being creative has so much to do with cosplay.
I imagine you have a lot of, we'll say, interesting fans. What would you say is do you have any creepy or crazy fan stories?
Yes, I do. One of them I will not say because it's too creepy. But an interesting one that actually happened this week, and a guy after every sentence dabbed a little bit after every sentence. He's like, all right, nice to meet you, Brit. I'll see you later. And I'm like, the first time it happened, I'm like, wait a minute. Did I see that? Did he dab? And after I'm like, okay, he definitely dabbed. He dabbed.
Where can people follow you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just search for Brit Bliss with 1 T, and you'll find me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.